Hi, my name is Faisal Ariff. I work in the Digital and Strategic Investment Department over at Sunway Group. To me, creativity is originality, is the ability to connect different ideas and concepts together in a novel way to solve problems. In the investment industry, people tend to over-specialize very early on. When you start as an analyst, you will look at a particular sector like palm oil or banks or property, for example. You'll tend to be very pigeonholed very quickly in that. And it could also be the type of investing that you're doing. It could be private equity, could be public equities, could be fixed income. And unfortunately, as economic conditions change, the applicability of what you know is not evergreen. You've got to adjust yourself accordingly to whatever's going on out there. Right now, interest rates are going up, and that will make it very difficult for, say, venture capital and startups to get funding. Then you get caught out when the tide goes out, as it were. So I think having a flexible approach, being very open to different types of asset classes, different types of investing, with leverage, without leverage, I think that will help immensely. We're doing a bunch of things. We're trying a bunch of things, and we're trying to do our bit. And I think the issue is that these are things that don't necessarily yield returns very quickly. It'll take time to gestate. We have the ecosystem. That's the advantage of Sunway, to try out new things. We are actually thinking about a planet and thinking about other metrics. They aren't necessarily financial metrics. So we're pioneers in this area when it comes to ESG disclosures in our annual report. We quantify things in terms of our carbon footprint, and a lot of companies don't do that. I think it's caught on now. Sunway's at the fore of that initiative. In the context of Sunway, when you take a look at SDG number 8, which is decent work and economic growth, if you look at it in a bit of a different way and think about our labor market right now in Malaysia, we have a lot of businesses that are literally addicted to foreign labor that cannot function unless they have that. One of the factors, production being very, very cheap. And certainly when you take a look at the minimum wage, a large portion of that 1,500 ringgit a month will tend to go to foreign labor in Malaysia. But when you look at the poverty level of 2,208 ringgit, there's a very clear difference between 1,500 and 2,208 ringgit. Maybe it helps us to build things cheaper, but if you think of it more broadly from a societal context, underpaying foreign workers does have a knock-on effect to the poorest Malaysians in the country, because it drags down their wages as well. We hear all kinds of stories now about 20-year-olds who have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. A very small portion of Malaysians can actually save every month. How does that impact Sunway? Well, when young people can't afford to get married and have kids, they're not going to form households. And when they don't form households, then nobody's going to buy our houses. If you take a look at how indebted the country is, households that the GDP is something like 90% right now, just alarmingly high. It's an SDG, yes, and maybe it's a bit fuzzy, but it does have a very large business impact to a company like Sunway.